here's the thing. Dinosaurs, I think for sure they were real. Obviously, we have evidence.
Yeah.
The age-old question is, are dinosaurs mentioned in the Bible?
I've seen it on. I seen a video somewhere where they just discovered what dinosaurs actually sounded like. What we thought dinosaurs sounded like is not what they sounded like.
So obviously, this thing that he's referring to is in the sea. It's a sea animal. I think it's both. I think it can probably come out of the sea and go in the sea.
It has scales.
But it
That's
has,
what
it
the
has some
shields-
sort of armor, which is referring to Godzilla. I'm sorry.
Were you a dinosaur kid?
No, I wasn't grown up, but
Yeah, neither was
Really,
I.
I was a big time dinosaur. Honest to God, a big time dinosaur child,
Really?
kid.
I couldn't see that from
Well,
you.
like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
do you mean? What do you mean?
Like
Dinosaur kid. You're just super into dinosaurs?
dinosaurs, dinosaur movies. I would go to the library, books, anything with cartoons with dinosaurs.
Did you
all that
know
stuff.
all the different breeds
Movies.
of dinosaurs?
All the
I
species?
did, I did like, actually, now that I think about it, I liked the Land Before Time movie. Remember that movie?
Oh, that's old.
Yeah, but
Land Before Time.
that's the
Old.
only, that's as dinosaur as I got as a
Yeah.
kid. I didn't know all the different breeds.
Yeah.
I didn't know all.
There was a lot. I've watched a lot of. I even just recently just watched some old 1960, 1970 dinosaur movies. Kind of
the
older
yeah.
ones. They looks weird, right? The
Yeah.
dinosaur, but I've always been a dinosaur. Any type of movie that had dinosaurs or
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Dinosaurs, I think for sure they were real. Obviously, we have evidence.
Yeah,
yeah.
bones.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the age-old question is, are dinosaurs mentioned in the Bible?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's what I kind of want to get into today. Touch on that a little bit because it's a crazy topic, but there is Bible verses that support that, and I kind of wanted to read Job 40. We can let me
Yep,
read it.
yep, yep.
Let's talk about it. I think it's
One thing that we go ahead and you
it's a
see.
pretty
Go ahead.
crazy, some crazy stuff.
Yeah, you go ahead and read the scripture,
So
but
in-
before you get into that, I do want to say that the word dinosaurs, the word dinosaur is recently new.
Yeah.
So
as in
the
not
word
it
dinosaur.
came out last year, but
Yeah,
no,
but
recently
it's new compared to
early 1800s.
Yeah.
That's when they gave.
yeah.
That.
So before that, people they didn't know that term dinosaur. We know what dino means big, and then saurus means some type of lizard.
Yeah.
But the word dinosaur will not be in biblical text or any book prior to maybe
to when they came out.
They had
before 1800s.
They had
Okay.
they definitely had a different name for it, for sure. If they were in biblical times, like
dragons.
Leviathan.
This
As plural?
Leviathan could have been just a
Yeah.
great behemoth.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Maybe
like a
serpent.
serpent. Yeah, serpent
Yeah.
beings.
but listen to this verse in Job, okay? Before we go and talk more about that, it says here, Job 48. Job 48, on verse 18 or 16. Behold, hold on. No, yeah, verse 15. Behold, Behemoth, which I made, as I made you. He eats grass like an ox. Behold his strength in his loins, and his power in the muscles of his belly. He makes his tail like a cedar.
Mm.
So let's just dissect that first. Okay.
Yeah.
Could you read it again? Sorry.
So behold the behemoth which I made as I made you. He eats grass like an ox. Behold his strength in his loins, which I saw in other translations. Behold his strength in his muscles. He has a power in the muscles of his belly, and he makes his tail stiff like a cedar. He makes his tail stiff like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are tubes of bronze. His limbs are like bars of iron. He is the first of the works of God. Let him who made him bring near his sword, for the mountains yield food for him, where all the wild beasts play. I can go on, but that's just that. No, that's talking about the behemoth, and the next
Yeah.
chapter talks about the Leviathan, which is I like that better. It helps like
Yeah.
the case for
but-
dinosaurs better.
but
But
we could.
this is also interesting too, because I mean, it's talking about a beast that has a tail as stiff as it. So it says
Stiff as a
makes its
cedar,
tail as stiff
right?
like a cedar.
like a tree.
Tree,
Yeah.
yeah. A cedar tree is pretty long, and it's long and stiff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
But then if we
Yeah.
dissect this, what other animal has a tail like a cedar? Obviously, okay, maybe an alligator.
an alligator,
Yeah.
but it's not that. It's
But
long,
I
but it's
feel
not.
like-
It's. I mean, maybe if people could say that, you know, in the Bible, more like it could be like more of an exaggeration, that, you know, on the lengthwise. But if it's, if it was, here's my thing.
Well,
If
it
it
didn't
was
say-
an exaggeration, like the tail was long as a cedar tree,
It doesn't say long though.
But here's the thing
It
that
says stiff.
here's the
stiff
thing.
as a cedar.
Yes,
Yeah.
but here's the thing that that makes it not an alligator, because it says, "Which I made as I made you." He eats grass like an ox.
There's
They don't
Yeah,
eat grass.
alligators
And-
don't eat.
yeah,
Yeah,
Eat
alligators
grass.
eat
So
the,
this is
the
we can
carnivores.
count that out. It's not an alligator. So what other animal has a tail like an like
there was
a
dinosaurs
cedar?
that were herbivores.
I know. So that's
Yeah,
why
it could be,
there's speculation that this
long neck.
is a long neck dinosaur. I forgot what they're called.
Or even the one
Bronchiosaurus.
Bronchiosaurus.
Yeah.
Or a brontosaurus, brontosaurus, bronchiosaurus.
Tyrannosaurus. Okay.
Oh.
That's it. Dinosaur.
Well, it might be. It might be because when we see like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, even though his, you know, the arms are very short,
The
right? But
the tail. is
but
stiff.
see, you know it's so weird because in time, and when they first, you know, discovered those the bones of a Tyrannosaurus Rex and stuff like that, or maybe like the Brontosaurus and the Brachiosaurus, all those dinosaurs. I remember watching old movies, and when the dinosaurs walked, the tails will be like they would drag, right? Like
Yeah.
even in the old cartoons and stuff like that. But now when you see dinosaur movies, the tails ain't dragged. So imagine the tail always up, right? It's always up.
Stiff as a cedar.
Yeah, it's always up. It's no longer dragging. Back in the old movies, 1950s, 1960s, they had the dinosaurs, like when they walk, that their tails would drag, like. But in the new movies and stuff and even in the museums, now they have the tails that are long and straight, you know, bent, you know, and you know they're no longer dragging on the floor. So I'm thinking on this part here, you know, so the tail could be like a cedar tree. It could be 20, 30, 40 feet a tree. So and don't think of it. I don't want to say that it's an alligator. You know, maybe it's an alligator. Well, the alligator and their tails are long, but they're not long as a cedar tree. Plus, alligators,
say long as
they
a cedar tree.
yeah, or like a cedar tree.
It's as stiff as
Stiff.
a cedar,
Well,
cedar tree.
okay, but they drag their tail. Yeah, but if they were gonna use if they on this one here, if it was a short tail, then they wouldn't use that analogy of a cedar tree. Then
This is also
You use
interesting
something
too.
else.
It says,
Well,
"Go on."
no, nothing. Go ahead.
It says he is the first of the works of God.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it's one of the first things that God made.
Does that mean that it's more special and more? Which I mean,
I don't know.
It could be a dinosaur or a creature that we never got to see too, though. Right? If you think about that, it has bones of bronze. Is that what it said? Bones like bronze, or what does it say?
yeah, yeah. It says
Hmm.
he has tubes of. His bones are tubes of bronze. His limbs are like bars of iron.
Read that passage again that you said he was the first to be made.
He is the first of the works of God. Let him who made him bring near his sword, for the mountains yield. Let him who made him bring near his sword.
Okay,
Let him who made him.
there is a theory out there that this, if we lean more that this could be a dinosaur, right? Because that I never read that part where it says that, Aiden. But if it is the first of the beast that God made, perhaps this was a creation that God created before man. You know, and they say that dinosaurs have been here for millions of years. So it's perhaps to be one of God's first creations before He created
Man.
Adam and Eve and the animals. This is something that He created before that survived all this time, and this is one of His
Yeah.
first creations.
That's
I don't
a-
know. That's
no,
just
no,
something.
no.
You know,
That's a crazy theory, but you know what?
yeah.
I mean, after reading that verse, it's like, He is the first of the works of God. That can mean so many different things. I mean,
Yeah, and I'm think about it. If it would have said that if this is the first of the works of God on the fifth day, when God made the land animals on the fifth day, I believe it was, or on the fourth day, it would specify if this is an animal that God made on the fifth day or on the fourth day. It doesn't even mention in Job that this God made this. On what day of creation could this be an animal that God created before the first creation? You know,
Yeah.
of basically of the story of man.
and it says, "Behold, Behemoth, which I made as I made you." If that means anything, but it probably just doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
So that's just that talks about the Behemoth, which is interesting. But what I like more is when it talks about the Leviathan, which, okay, so it just starts with on Job 41. Can you draw out Leviathan with a fishhook, or press down his tongue with a cord? Can you put a rope in his nose, or pierce his jaw with a hook, so you can't catch him like a fish, whatever? Will he make many pleas to you? Will he speak to you soft words? Will he make a covenant with you, or take him for your servants forever? Let me go on. Those verses are kind of boring. Behold, the hope of no. I will not keep silence concerning his limbs, or his mighty strength, or his goodly frame. Who can strip off his outer garment? Who could come near him with a bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His back is made of rows of shield. Let's pause there. So obviously, this thing that he's referring to is in the sea. It's a sea animal. I think it's both. I think it can probably come out of the sea and go in the sea.
It has scales.
But it
That's
has
what the
some
shields-
sort of armor.
Yeah, that's what the
Some
shields.
sort
are
of
talking
thing
about.
that you can't pierce or
Yeah.
catch with a hook,
Yeah.
which is referring to Godzilla. I'm sorry. I mean,
Well, shoot.
What?
No,
Godzilla's-
I'm not saying it's Godzilla, but
but it might
but
look something like it.
it has something kind of similar. Yes,
If
it-
we were to compare it to anything that we.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
Leviathan.
so it has thick skin and shield. I guess. Scales or whatever. His sneezings flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the dawn, which I don't know what that means, but so his sneezings, which I mean, it's probably like
His breath.
snorting, his breath,
nose, yeah.
whatever,
When he
Yeah.
breathes out through his nostrils.
flashes forth light, which
Fire.
automatically I'm thinking of a fire breathing dragon.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Automatically.
fire when I think that.
So, and then let's read these verses, which, read this right here. Out of his mouth go flaming torches, sparks of fire leap forth. Dragon.
Yeah.
It says that fire comes out of him.
So it could, I don't know. It could be talking about dinosaurs. It could also be talking about the beasts, right? Of the like beasts that we've never seen, or the end beasts. Those are weird too. Those are
Mhm.
crazy weird things in the Bible too.
But the ones in the end times, and I believe
Yeah, those are
Revelations,
different,
they had
right?
different
Yeah.
they were
specifications.
specified.
This is
differently.
talking
Yeah.
about something that's in the sea that God made.
It could be something
and-
that we've never seen, or
Megalodon.
something that we never. Yeah, it could. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
But then also, is this pre-flood? Is Job pre-flood?
Well, we don't know if it's pre-flood or yeah, because if it is, either way, if it's pre-flood or after the flood, doesn't matter because
Because they're gone.
because during the flood, God destroyed all land-bearing animals. None of the sea or the ocean creatures
Yeah, that's true.
died in the flood.
So whatever this
They survived
this
in the flood.
is, could have survived. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, we've all heard. There's movies made on this, and there's books, and even since the times of the knights, right? They would go out and hunting dragons, And there was actually some documents back in the 1500s where they actually caught a dragon in there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this was there's even some cave drawings and stuff at that prehistoric, a lot of imagery about dragons and flying dragons and fire. Where do people get that? If it's I've always believed that there's some truth to myth. So where in all these different cultures, where did they get this idea where flying dragons breathing through their nostrils fire, or out of their mouth fire comes out, and even some dragons that even talk.
They have scales that you can't penetrate, skin that is like shields, and
either somebody's having some really vivid dreams, or it has to have been something that they've seen,
or something very. It's like I said, there's some truth to it. There's some truth to it. I'm not saying that everything is 100%. There was like an actual dragon that flies with wings. Perhaps it wasn't like that. Perhaps it's something else, a down version scale of it. But because there's people that perhaps
because
they make it more than what it is. Yeah. But there is some truth to it. There was some type of lizard or some type of dinosaur or some type of dragon, perhaps with some wings, or that was big, and perhaps when it breathed, or when the fire came out, we don't know.
Well, then again, we've never seen a dinosaur before. We only had bones, so we don't know if dinosaurs could breathe fire, because they probably could have, right? I don't know if science has disproved that, but I don't think they have. Maybe some dinosaurs had the ability to do that.
Well, they actually just discovered not too long ago, like I'm talking within 5 years or so. I seen a video somewhere where they just discovered what dinosaurs actually sounded like. What we thought dinosaurs sounded like is not what they sounded like. Yeah. They just discovered recently.
That's only
within 5 years.
That's only what the movies show.
Yeah. So movies created that sound.
Yeah.
But they actually found out. They, took, I don't know how they did it or what, but
some science.
They discovered
I would imagine
how they sound.
They have more like a bird sounds, maybe.
It was pretty creepy. I don't know. I remember because they have audios on it now.
Well, there's
what they would have sounded
actual insects or animals, little small animals or insects that actually will spit out some type of acid. It's like a defense mechanism. So here's my thing: is that if we know there's insects or animals that have a defense mechanism like that, why not think about something larger that has a defense mechanism? It has to be where it'll breathe out some type of fire or some type of acid or something, burning to burn some stuff, or regurgitate some type of vial that is actually an acid. Yeah, hey.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like the movies, like Godzilla, where he breathes out a big beam of fire.
Yeah.
It could just be something like I said. Smoke comes from its mouth, like it's that type.
It could be like an octopus.
It's more like it's intimidating. Type of thing. But then it did say that flashes of fire came from its mouth. Yeah. So it could be like a scare tactic,
or it could be spitting out sparks or something, and it's not even fire.
What would it need to breathe fire for? Think about it.
To defense and offense.
I guess offense maybe, but I don't think. I don't know. I can't. I don't know if I can picture just.
Lots of times the animals that have some type of an ability, it's for a lot of it is for defense. It's more to scare other animals. That if I'm a small little animal, but my defense is to do something, very drastic and to scare off that larger animal. So perhaps the dragon did have some type of that lizard, that dragon had some type of defense mechanism that it will to scare off people, humans, or scare off another larger animal, so it won't be eaten or taken advantage of. It was a defense mechanism.
It's hard to imagine another larger animal though. But anyways, I think that dinosaurs could have been called dragons before. Yeah. And I think because dinosaurs is a recent word that we came up with.
I think, and in a previous podcast, we talked about how if we look at this in the pre-flood Earth was a lot different. It had a canopy. Most of all the land-bearing land and pre-flood was very tropical, very humid, right? So a lot of the animals and humans lived for hundreds of years more pre-flood. So if it was an actual lizard, and lizards nowadays, they don't live that long, maybe 40, 60, 70, 80 years. In pre-flood times, a lizard could live up to 4, 5, 6, 700 years. So their growth, it's probably they keep on growing.
Yeah.
Some lizards will grow depending on their environment. So if you put them in a small container, they won't outgrow the container. Depends. If they put them outside in the wild, they get bigger.
That too. I was also thinking when you said that, I forgot about the cast over the earth. What was it called again? I forget what it's called.
Canopy.
Yeah,
like canopy kind of deal.
But it has a name, doesn't it? I forgot what it's called. Anyways, but that also changed weather for the sea animals too.
Yeah.
It changed
Everything.
temperatures in water, which some animals can't live in. So that could have killed water animals. Also, the flood could have killed these water animals too, if you think about it. If you really think about it, because the earth floods, these animals don't stay still. They move with the water, or they go other places. They have a lot more places to go within the flood. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe they traveled to a place they couldn't live in. They're stuck there now.
Yeah.
Things like that. Water animals could have been killed too.
When you put that, what we've been saying about in the book of Job, these huge land animals, lizards, or if it was a dinosaur or some type of a different type of a lizard, it could have been a oversized, huge lizard, an alligator, but not looking like how our typical alligators now. Something big, because pre-flood times, everything was big. We talked about on a different podcast where humans lived long, giants, right? Everything was just the world in pre-flood Earth.
It was different.
It was different, way different than what we see now.
It had to be because, again, if you look at the age of people, how did they live long? We can go on and talk about that, but I think the environment just had to be different in some sort of way.
Here's what I'm saying is that pre-flood times, the earth was strange. So when we read biblical passages like this, why not take it? Why dismiss it? Oh, it can't be a dinosaur. It can't be a Leviathan. It can't be a dragon. Oh, we don't do that. Why dismiss it? Because in the pre-flood times, Earth was not the same as we see it now.
Yeah. Another thing,
very believable.
Yeah, they're still discovering animals that are.
Yes.
I have a friend. Levi. Shout out Levi. He went to a mammoth discovery the other day.
Really?
He sent me pictures, and they're uncovering mammoths from the earth, and he took pictures and sent them to me. And it's crazy. He said it's going to take them years. We won't even be alive before they fully get this mammoth out of the ground. Because they have to be so delicate and careful. But they're just finding, you know what I mean? Sure. That they just found a pack of mammoths, and they're uncovering it still to this day. You know what I mean? Things like that. So, I mean, there could be, I'm not, that too, dragons or whatever. We've never seen dragon bones, I don't think, have we?
Well, it might not be like a dragon.
It could
because
be that's still in the ground.
Yeah. What we see now as dinosaurs, we just see bones. But it could, we don't, this is nothing. I don't think we're really know for sure what the texture of a dinosaur, their skin looked like.
Yeah.
Because that dissolved. So all we have is just bones.
But then again, we don't know what their bones were. They had to be light because they flew and they were big.
Some flew.
So maybe their bones deteriorated over time. They weren't like other bones. Or, I mean, just playing the other team here. Maybe dragons never existed and they just made them up. It's very easy to just make something up, and if I write it on a cave, people will believe it.
Yeah.
If I put it on a cave.
Yeah.
People were creative then, they're creative now.
But but it has to be a world event, a worldwide.
I don't want to say it's made up.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say that you're then if it is made up, then why is it dragons, and dinosaurs, or why is it worldwide?
Because it's so cool.
I don't know. That's
But
that depiction of a dragon, if someone were to draw it in a cave or something, and it had wings or whatever, they had to have thought of that image by thinking of a different animal. They couldn't have just thought
pterodactyl.
Thought of that image of a dragon.
What about a pterodactyl?
Their own thoughts.
We've discovered pterodactyl bones.
Here's the thing: is that in the book of Revelation, it talks about dragons.
Yeah.
You know, but the beast that came out of
Yeah.
the dragon with 7 heads.
Yeah.
Now that could be it could be all symbolic. That a lot of it is, but why would in biblical times they used the dragon?
Yeah.
Why a dragon? If this can be symbolic, why didn't the biblical writer, the biblical author
Yeah.
use some other type instead of a dragon? Dragons were mean. Dragons is associated with Satan. It's associated with the serpent.
Maybe people took the name dragon
Yeah.
and put a picture to it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I believe
no.
in that. I would love to believe that dragons were real ones. I'm not. I'm just playing. Like I said, I'm just playing both sides.
Yeah.
Better.
Well, how would you explain what Job was saying, or what the God was saying to Job about fire coming out of?
Yeah.
And
See,
that's
that
God talking.
could be anything
God
though,
talking.
because that was a land animal, right? It doesn't say.
No,
it had
that was
wings.
It was a water animal too, Leviathan.
Leviathan. See,
So
it doesn't ever say it has wings or anything. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of.
It could be
different
like
things,
Loch Ness monster, the Loch Ness monster over
Yeah.
Scotland,
Yeah.
the Loch Ness.
and we have found bones of water dinosaurs.
Yes, of course, with fins and
Yeah.
stuff, the huge
Sea
ones.
dinosaurs?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we do.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Some
you
of
know
them
what
might
I mean?
still start.
It could be.
Some of them. Well, that's what those ancient mariners back in those times. They thought that the Earth was flat, right? But they saw at the end of the Earth, at the end of the waters, there lived Leviathan. They lived a ocean creature that did not want you to go past the ends of the earth, whatever it was. But that's also where it comes from. The great beast, the water beast, Leviathan. But
It's
those
very
ancient
cool to
mariners
think
thought of
about.
that too.
Yeah. It's very cool to think about. I still think that there's, sea animals that we haven't discovered,
Oh yeah,
or like bones that we haven't discovered of sea animals in the water. Because what is it? It's the Earth is what, 80% water,
something like that.
or
Almost.
or something like that, around that.
Imagine
And we haven't even discovered not even a quarter of the sea.
or less,
over the ocean.
less than that. Well, imagine if the ocean would dry up instantly.
Oh,
what type of animals do
we
we-
discover crazy things. I think
Yeah, exactly.
All
There's a
sorts
lot
of
more
And we
stuff.
like discover like cities and stuff.
maybe
Perhaps.
Atlantis, things like that.
Atlantis. Yeah.
Mermaids. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think crazy things are in the ocean,
Yeah.
and who knows? Maybe that Leviathan's still sleeping down there or something. But
It did.
It's
It
crazy.
did say, look at the Leviathan, not Leviathans. I don't know.
but Leviathan can be
Yeah.
plural.
I
Right?
know. It could,
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it could. God could have just created that one that one
One
awesome
beast.
creature, one beast, and he created one big behemoth. That,
I don't know.
but I'm just saying that.
You know,
I don't
it-
know.
Yeah,
So dinosaurs in the Bible.
it's interesting.
It's interesting. I would take a look at the book of Job and whatever God wanted to describe that being, that creature. I would lean more to the side that God was describing some type of huge animal that He created that was tough and furious.
Yeah,
2 of them, Leviathan of the ocean and one on earth with dry land. These 2 beings, these 2 creatures, one controlled the waters, the other one was not controlled the land, but it was big and fierce.
Yeah.
Try to tame it. Try to tame what's in the water. You can't. Try to tame what's in the land. You can't. See, I made these 2.
yeah.
I
control.
I made these 2, and I could tame it because as I control them. But it's hard to control man. God saying, but it's hard. I made you, but I can't tame you. The Leviathan and Behemoth, they're under my control. They obey God.
Yeah,
And God made us,
it could also.
and we don't obey God. So He's
Yeah.
He's making a contrast.
That's kind of
God there.
like a lesson to.
Yeah, it is.
Too, because
It was. So in the book of Job, God is teaching Job something, a lesson.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that it's kind of like take a step back. I can control these things. You can't. You're not on the same level as me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's kind of that's a lesson you could take from it, I guess.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. All right, guys. So we just gave our take on what we think is in the chapters 40 and 41 of Job. Let us know in the comments what you guys think it was.
All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe and like our videos, and we'll see you next time on our next podcast.